Hey everyone, it is FANzine Live. This is Tom, and we are talking about new releases that came out of the SPX show this past fall. It is just a treasure trove of zines and comics, and I am going to share 4 more with you today. I loosely tried to make the discussion about travel and about distance, and I got it right on about 2 of them. So this is Souvenirs. It's a travel diary by a lady named Summer Pierre, lovely lady who I had a chance to talk with a little bit at SPX. Neat book. It's a matte cover. It's saddle stitched, very professionally done. It's a gorgeous looking book. It's black and white interiors, as you can tell. And I have been attracted to the idea of using comics as a way to explore culture and explore places that you just can't get to if you're sitting at home. There are different ways in which you can expose people. One of the ways is through travel diaries, and she does a really good job on this European trip. Now, this is a somewhat older book, I want to say. I thought it was, gonna check real quick. Yeah, 2015 she did this. But of course I've never seen it, so it's new to me, so we're gonna call it that. But as you can see, she starts, October 2015. After 2 years of planning and saving, I flew to Europe to meet my friend Mindy in Paris for her 40th birthday. And it goes on and talks about what she's done. So Summer Pierre tried to do a travel diary each day, or many days during her trip. She would do at least a page of content. And so you can see, like, this is the On My Way. Kind of amazed she was able to pull all that off in one day. I mean, that would take me a lot longer. But then she also has some of her little still life things, her first taste of Europe, croissants. It was on the airplane, croissants and coffee. Then The Hague. And that was a 2-pager. This is a 4-pager from The Hague. Done. Okay, this was Saturday, October 17th. She was crushing it. Saturday, October 17th. Piece about the magpie. But anyway, it's neat. These are like little vignettes that she does about her trip. And Ms. Pierre is she's a middle-aged lady, and it's as much about the experience of traveling and the things she sees, like in Amsterdam, going to a museum, or getting delayed by the Amsterdam Marathon. So it's as much about that as it is about the friendships. And so, for example, meeting her friend Catherine and her husband John, and then the interactions that she has about traveling. It's very neat in that respect. Nice little piece recreating Van Gogh. Van Gogh has a box of yarn. She says, a whole museum of painting, sketches, letters, and photographs, yet it is this red lacquered box of loved yarn that makes me feel Van Gogh's presence more than anything. Some souvenirs she picked up in the Netherlands. The graphic design is really nice. I mean, these pages, these chapter break pages, are clearly blown up versions of artwork that's in the different sections. So part 1 had the trees and the benches for The Hague and Amsterdam. Now she's on to Paris. And She basically was not feeling good. She woke up with a raging migraine and spent the entire trip either passed out or throwing up in the tiny bathroom. And so she talks about that and how she's not feeling well. But she does have some really nice establishing shots looking at the train station in Paris. It's gorgeous. And then talking about how she's just not feeling well, wretch, and how she blacked out. But then they went off and got to some museums. She went to the Picasso Museum and did a lot of stuff about eating, a lot of stuff about going to cafes, especially in Paris. And just the feeling she has. I mean, being happy and present. It's a really lovely book. Things she bought at a place called Shakespeare and Company. She bought some brightly colored napkins. I have no idea what I'll use them for. They just make me happy. It really does read like a diary. The last meal in Paris, and then how she had to leave. Some souvenirs she brought home, and she talks about what a souvenir really is. And then the acknowledgments. Nice book. Summer Pierre, Souvenirs, a Travel Diary. Highly recommended. We'll keep traveling with How Brazil Can Be by Elise Dietrich. And she graduated from college in 2001 with big dreams and a degree in studio art. With few prospects, a love of Brazilian music, and a thirst for adventure, she left the northeastern U.S. for a gig teaching English in a German colony far south of Brazil. And so she has her little map about being Brazil. And it's interesting. She had an idea of what Brazil could or should be. And it took her some effort to try to find it. This, of course, is not a full color book, but it's a 3-color book, because you got your black grays, you got your red orangish, you got your aqua. But basically, it's about this person, this lady, and again, it's a bit of a diary, talking about how she basically is having a hard time being with her. I believe this was the party scene that she didn't really care for. And they wanted to expose her to Brazil, and Brazil, of course, is obviously a lot of partying, and she didn't really care for the bikinis and the like. So she got onto a less crowded bus and crashed. So this one is talking about the next section is about going to a family beach condo. Hey, that sounds great. I'm going to get away from the carnival stuff and go head out to a beach condo. So there's the family, and she's like, what is this Northeast place? So she grew up on New England beaches. So this is the beach as it relates to this section of Brazil. And she went with the most modest bikini she could find. Went swimming. She has trash. She has pollution. Neat how she includes maps and some nice scenery in addition to the family interaction stuff that she's got. This is Martha's Vineyard. This is it's Dudley Beach in Australia. My parents had always taken me to wild and isolated beaches, but here the attraction seemed to be around other people, and it made me fiercely homesick. So we are now at page 14. The book is over halfway done, and she decides to make the most of her time on Earth. And she keeps seeing these pictures of these gorgeous abandoned beaches. And so she says on page 15, I have a few days before I have to be back. I think I might go visit the area on my own. And the family was like, why would you do that? And of course she did it anyway. And she's talking about make the most of your time on Earth. So she hops on the bus by herself. She goes to a using a guidebook, she goes to a youth hostel, runs into some travelers, and makes friends with them. So she finds the right people. She travels light, or her friends travel light. They have a camera, they have cheap sunglasses, sunscreen, flip-flops, barely enough for snacks and bus fare, and a beach wrap. And she found that she just hadn't hit the right beaches. And now she's in bliss. No trash, very few buildings, no cars, warm water, hot surfers, a beachside shack selling pina coladas and hollowed out pineapples. And she had such a great time. And then she has to go back. So a very neat little book about finding herself, about finding the Brazil that she wanted it to be, or that she knows that it can be. I like it. Very professionally done. Nice piece. So when I'm looking at travel, I pulled out this book, and of course it's about cycles and bicycles. And I thought, let's do this. And of course the book is called Cycles. It's by O'Connell and Hetland. I believe the names are on here. Kyle O'Connell and Beth Hetland. This is actually fairly old. This is 2012. But again, I've never seen it before. It's an interesting little story. Has very little to do with travel, but we'll go through it anyway. So the story, and you can see it's a very nice, again, professionally printed. A lot of stuff coming out of SPX was either very handmade or really exquisitely printed. So this book is, let's see, it's about 100 and the last page is 141, 142. So it's a pretty long book. This book is about two characters. One is here, one is here. He's sleeping. And they are working on technologies and the like. It's a little weird to start with. It's a little hard to figure out where they're going with it. Cleaning out a pistol. I mean, the artwork is very nice. Not a lot of text to it, but you can see he pulls out this giant bicycle, this character, and I believe he's called the Professor. Pulls out this giant bicycle, and he just shakes all over the place. And he doesn't care for it. So he hops back down and puts it away. And so he goes back through the office into a workshop and gets to work. But he's also working on weapons. So what's going on here? And he keeps working on weapons. And you can see the other character who, what do they call him? Dorothy, actually, I think is the name. Dorothy is a little bit of a more relaxed character. The Professor is a little bit more of a hardcore character. But anyway, the Professor suggests that perhaps maybe we switch the big wheel, little wheel bicycle model to one with equal sized wheels, which would improve balance. And the Dorothy character just doesn't care. So they go on through that. Then here, the Dorothy character goes up onto the roof. They've got a tent up on the roof and starts pulling stuff together, making this giant blanket, perhaps. The police get involved, and they have some fun back and forth banter. But that sheet or blanket actually is a balloon, and it goes off into the night. So I will tell you, this is one of those books where it takes some time to figure out what's going on. But then you can see they start robbing banks, and they're riding their special bicycles. And they're riding around town, escaping the police, robbing banks on their bicycles. And this is a little subplot. This guy played some cards, and the winner got the boots. Or I'm sorry, the loser. Anyway, as a result of it, the gentleman is buck naked wearing some really nice looking boots. And of course, everybody is totally freaked out by him. So he, I believe, got thrown in jail for indecent exposure. Yeah, there he is. So now they're having the discussion in jail about what happened. But then he gets blown out of jail by the professor in a balloon who's dropping dynamite on the prison. Finally gets up. They get into the balloon. They get away. And they call themselves the Lawbreakers. And then at the end of the book, they're back in jail, and they explain exactly what was going on in the book. And I got to tell you, until I hit page 140, a lot of this didn't make sense. But once you read that at the end, it really does, which is kind of neat. So it's a very well-constructed story, one that intentionally misleads you, but it's entertaining enough and the storytelling is good enough that you keep following along. But then you get to the end and it, the light goes on and you go, oh, that makes sense. So a lot of fun. Cycles by O'Connell and Hetland. Again, I'll be looking for some links that I can put in the show notes. And travel often involves distance. And so when I saw a delayed postmark for a piece for this zine by Noah Haynes, I thought this would be neat. I really like the printing style on this. This is a real simple cardstock cover. Looks like it's professionally printed. Oh, got Ms. Haynes, very good artist. But the thing I like about this is, and I think you can see it, it's drawn almost in halftones. Reminds me very much of the duo shade boards that they used to use in the 80s. And the whole thing is done this way. And even the text, which you may be able to see, also is done in a duo tone type look. So this ends up being a letter that it says it's been 4 years since I moved away, 3 years since I started going by a new name, 3 years since we had your funeral, 2 years since the pandemic began. And it's a really interesting story. Looks to be a letter that Haynes, or the character that Haynes is writing in the first person, is writing to a deceased father. Me and mom still fight. I still don't have my license. I still sleep with a plushie. And you can see, I found a letter you wrote me in high school when I was at a month-long art program. You told me you were proud of me. So it's kind of cool in that respect. And some of the memories and some of the regrets, because apparently this father is gone. Love, your only child. You did a good job. You love me very well. You wrote me so many letters. It took so long for me to write back. I'll write again soon. Love, your only child. Dedicated to Harold E. Haynes. So I'm guessing that's her dad. This is a 2022 zine. Really neat, really poignant. The artwork is perfect for the story. Just gorgeous stuff. I really like this a lot. And it's fun when you read a zine and you think it's going to go in one direction. Delayed postmark, I'm thinking my mindset is about travel and about distances far away, and instead the delay is not necessarily the delay in the post office delivering something, but rather in the letter that's being written from the child to the father. Neat book. So I will again try to find some information and post that as well. Delayed postmark. That wraps up our new releases from SPX for this week. I've got a few more, probably looking at least another 2-3 weeks of SPX books. Then we'll start taking a look at some other stuff as well. But yeah, a good one. So thanks again for watching, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will catch you next time.